Good evening and welcome to the celebration. I'm Mark Palmieri, a member of One World Progressive Institute's board, and the MC for this evening. We're here this evening to celebrate 10 years of programming, the 10 years of conversation with Nzinga Shani. Those of you who are watching know a little something about the 21st Century Show, and I think one of the most important things to recognize is that it has, over the last 10 years, starting in June 11th, it has helped to create forums and has dealt with issues as long as 10 years ago that are still pertinent and topical today. Early issues talked about racism, public disinformation, and I think what has happened is that over the last 10 years, Nzinga and the program has brought to us, collectively, good information about the issues that affect our lives on a daily basis. For those of us that are here this evening, we are also celebrating in a big way 10 years of Nzinga's life. In most cases, she has reached us all, both personally and professionally, and it's been her commitment, her vision, and her integrity that has created the following in this community. Like you, like me, she has also been recognized for her outstanding efforts by a number of awards that have been given the show. And this evening, all of us here, and hopefully all of you at home, will have an opportunity to walk a little bit with us during the past 10 years and to kind of capsulize what has happened and what we're planning for the future. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to you a board member and a friend also, Norm Forrester. Norm?
Good evening. I'd like to read some letters of regret from some very dear friends and important friends of the show. This letter is from Gerald H. Parks, and it reads, "Greeting, Nzinga. I regret that I will not be able to participate in this wonderful and well-deserved celebration. Congratulations on your award-winning program that has given so much to the communities that you serve. The people need reliable and accurate information to make important decisions about their lives. It's been a pleasure working with you. You and I are communicators who have found purpose in being of service to the community. For 10 years, 21st Century Conversations has been a vehicle through which that purpose has been realized. 21st Century Conversation is a valuable source of information that covers a wide range of issues that are vital to the community at large. 21st Century Conversations has become more than a program. It is an institution. Blessings of the Mother, Father, God. May the ancestors continue to guide you. One love, Jabari Kwabenga Sagoma, a.k.a. Gerald H. Park." I have another letter. This is from our esteemed Senator Tony Harp. "Hello, everyone. What an exciting anniversary we're here celebrating tonight. While I can be there to acknowledge the occasion personally, I am very happy about Nzinga Shani's and her 10th anniversary of One World. What an asset she is to our community. What a service she provides. 10 years ago, because she noticed a void, she looked for positive, youth-oriented programming on our community access television. Nzinga started producing shows to provide important information for young people about health, education, employment, and other opportunities in a manner easily understood by most in our community. She saw a gap to be filled, and she's been filling it now for 10 years. I know I join many members of our community with gratitude for all her hard work, and all we know her wish her well in continuing success with all the goals she has for One World. And it's no secret I'm a big fan. I eagerly await the next 10 years of One World programming to the benefits of young people in our midst and in the New Haven community at large. Senator Tony Harp."
Thank you, Norm. Thank you twice. Thank you, Norm. I would now like to introduce for a few comments B. Dozier Taylor. B has been a member of the One World Community Action Council, and she's the owner of Black Pride, a bookstore located in New Haven on Dwight Street. B, would you come forward?
Well, Nzinga, let us all join in together and just thank you for all the work that you have done. Not only, I mean, there are things that we do on behalf of our community, but there has to be a call first. And obviously there is a call that you hear. The same as someone hears the call from that mountain that's snow covered and freezing, and I don't hear that call, so I'm not climbing a mountain. But you can tell the type of call a person has in the way that they respond. And you respond to something that is really a very deep need in our community. Information is always important for all communities. Information, sharing that information, putting it out in a way, keeping in the forefront of our mind that communication is for the importance of education, for edification, and also conversation. The purpose of it is just to be lively, to have fun. And we get to do it all with 21st Century Conversations. We get it all through you and 21st Century Conversations. So I personally want to say thank you. We have a big need here in New Haven because we're dealing with New Haven. There is so much work that we want to do. But as always, we have to look towards those that are doing the work, because there's always so much work, so much more work to do. But those who are out there doing the work also need the support. There are different things that I can't do because my time doesn't permit. But we're always finding that there is something in some way that we can add to something positive taking place in our community. This is not a situation where someone is, and when I say someone, and speaking of Nzinga is not giving back to the community. Nzinga is adding to our community because we already have a greatness that's already there. And Nzinga continues to add to it, but she also needs our support. And a part of our coming together is to celebrate. But if we don't take the time to speak to our community and say we have a wonderful thing here, but it's something that we all need to partake in, that we all can partake in, we need support. This has been a wonderful 10 years. We look forward to many, many more years. We know Nzinga has a lot to give, and the integrity that comes with your work. It's such a beautiful thing. I'm very, very fond of quoting James Bond, and one thing in particular, and where he wrote, "Our children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to imitate them." You stand as a marvelous example. And I'm going to say that all of us here in this room, we are examples of individuals that take the lead. But all of us get to join in. We're here to support you in this effort. We're inviting our community, those out there that are also taking the leads in different ways. It's about bringing the net together, because together there's so much more work we can do. There will be information put up so that you can know more about the work that's taking place and also how you can go about supporting. But the key is to support. And I thank you. I thank you, Nzinga. It's a pleasure to be in the company of everyone that's here, and we just look forward to more work to come. That means you got to work, and us too.
Thank you, B. And the calls were usually calls for help. I get a chance to say a couple of words because I'm introducing Nzinga formally, and I would just like to say our friendship goes back to longer than we want to talk about, probably the mid-'80s. And at that time, in my position, I was out looking for presenters, and Nzinga did a number of work for us in New Haven Public Schools around professional development issues, et cetera. And it was always fascinating because even at that point in time, there was always a certain love of life. There's a certain sense of wanting to be involved in everything. And I think it's that kind of enthusiasm that pushes us all further. And I think all of us in this room, when I said originally, have been touched both personally and professionally. That's the way Nzinga works. And I think it's important for you out there to recognize and for us to be able to say that she is a lot more than what you just see on television. Without any further ado, my good friend, our good friend, your good resource, Nzinga Shani.
When I started this program, I wasn't wearing glasses. 10 years have taken their toll. I must say, though, that it's been a challenge. It's been a real growth experience, and it's been rewarding. And I want to tell you a brief story about how I got on the air, and I went to, it so happens the person responsible for this program is sitting in the audience, and I am so thrilled that Catherine Cole came up from New York. She and her husband traveled from New York to be here with us this evening. And Catherine, can you just stand up or raise your hand so people see who you are? Catherine Cole, please give her a hand. Catherine Cole used to be the program director here at Citizens Television back in 1995 and 1996. I came here to learn how to use the equipment and how to be a volunteer producer because I did not like what I was seeing on the air. I was raising a child in New Haven. I didn't see, I hear about local access, and I didn't see anything on there that my son could watch. And so I came down and I took the class, and I became a producer for another person's program. I had no plans to go on the air. I was producing a program called Let's Talk About Jobs because I wanted to do things to teach young people the things that my great-grandparents taught me when I was a child. Self-respect, pride, how to present yourself to others, and all of these things. So I came down, I took the class, and I started volunteering as a producer. And on the audio board, I used to manage the audio board when I do the show. And so we had a host. We had a sort of professional host person and a director, and I did all the background work and the scripts, and she would walk in the studio at about 10 to 7, and I would hand her the script, and she would go on the air at 7:30 and host the show. And one of my major weaknesses is that I am a stickler for detail, for doing things right, for giving out accurate information. And I felt that there were times when a host needed to know something more about the information she's presenting than just reading it from the page. It takes a certain amount of, invocation, things from the gut to say something with meaning so people would believe you. And so I sort of pointed that out. And so this lady decided to teach me a lesson. And one night in May of 1996, when we had one of the biggest shows planned, we had labor leaders from all across Connecticut, Waterbury, Hartford, Stamford, come to the studio where we were in New Haven to do a show, and the host did not show up. At 7 o'clock, I see no host, 7:10, and I said to the director, who was a friend of hers, what happened to our host? And he said, oh, didn't she tell you? She went down south for vacation. But it was designed to embarrass me. So because I had all these big wigs, these 1199 folks coming on the air. And so one of the things my great-grandmother taught me as a child, you should never leave the house dressed in a way that if you fall down and you had to go to the hospital, you'd be embarrassed. Okay? So I tried to put myself together properly. So I was in the studio that night with no host and 4 guests, and I went on the air to host the show. The rest, as they say, is a 10-year history because I never heard from the host again. She never called to say she wasn't coming back. And so for the next 3 months, I hosted the show. And Catherine Cole said to me after 5 weeks, and we got a ton of calls saying, oh, people like the show. Catherine said to me, how about doing your own show? And I said, oh, no. And she said, oh, yes, you have a time slot. And so in June 11th, 1996, I did my first show called Looking into the 21st Century. And we did the first show June 9th. June 11th, Elsie Cofield, Tony Harp, and Ann Calabrese were my first 3 guests when I talked about positive community profiles and how important it is for us in the community to provide leadership for our young people. Mrs. Cofield adopted me many, many years ago. And so Reverend Curtis Cofield and his wife Elsie Cofield are my surrogate parents in this country. She has been in my corner since the mid-1980s when I was patient relations director at St. Raphael's, and she was the crazy lady who visited the AIDS patients and wanted to feed them and wipe their brows. And we took each other to heart. And I'm so pleased that today they're here to celebrate this with me. And they are just, I'll tell you, when I'm distressed, it doesn't matter what time, and sometimes I call too late. And I usually start the phone by saying, Dad, I didn't realize it was so late. I'm really sorry, but can I talk to Mom? And they listen. And moms provide such support and such advice and such counseling. Keeps me out of trouble sometimes. And so I think they've written something for me. And I'm going to have Mom share with you what she has written about me. So you want to go to the mic, Moms? Or, yes, why don't you go to the mic?
I have 3 other daughters, and we are really happy and proud to have Nzinga as our daughter. We are excited. And she does call when she's happy. Sometimes she doesn't call, and then I have to call and say, now, honey, what is wrong with you? She knows that. And we love her. We are very, very excited to support her. And I just have so many children, and I just thank God that He's given me so many. I must have 100 children throughout New Haven, really. And thinking about Nzinga and all the times I've seen her, these are the ways I've seen her. And there are so many other things I could think about or say, but these are the main things that I can remember. First of all, I want you to know that she's an exemplary woman. She's a woman of many works. And though she's tired or discouraged, she never, ever shirks. When I served on the Governor's AIDS Task Force, I met her as a leader there. She was helping with this or discussing that. She just had so much to share. We came from every area of Connecticut trying to find answers and a plan for this dreadful, misunderstood disease called AIDS. People were dying on every hand. She was smart, fast-moving, and beautiful. I can remember her yet. The way she gave discussions or answered questions, how could I ever forget? Her work now for organ donors, we act like it's her program all alone. But most of us look another way. We don't even answer the phone. Then there's her dynamic program for CTV. This is for us to help us grow. Yet most of us aren't helping her at all, as if we don't care or don't know. What a difference it would make, just a card or a smile. If we made it a notion, made a donation, it would make her time worthwhile. Let's make her next 10 years happy. Please let her know we care. She's an exemplary woman. You can't find them everywhere. Bless you.
See what I mean? I am telling you, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I would like to tell you, I would like to share with you a little bit about what we have been doing. But before I do that, I want to introduce to you 4 young men who are also exemplary. They are right here from our community. They have been in the movies, The Preacher's Wife. They have been singing for many years. And what I admire about them most is their stick-to-itiveness and the fact that they will not compromise their principles. They won't go to the kind of songs that will make them more popular. They won't go to this type of songs that we hear sometimes and can't believe the words. Because they are young men who have families. I just saw Phil's new daughter. Phil and his wife are raising their children in a Christian way. And I know that Jerry is, I could say something about each of them, but I know that our time is, before you know it, the time will be gone. But I want you tonight to sit back, you at home and you in the studio, to really enjoy the talents. These are our young men here in New Haven. They are not from out of town. You know, it says a prophet is never honored in his own country. New Haven, we need to start honoring our own. And as these people sitting here tonight saying these wonderful things about me, I want to share with you the talent of Phil, Mike, Jerry, and Ron. Ron is your manager. Tony, sorry. Please enjoy their talent. They're going to do Christian Automobile, right?
Acapella.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, it's an acapella tune.
Okay.
Hope you really enjoy it. Well, you know that every child of God, running for Jesus, just like the every child of God, running for Jesus, just like the every child of God, running for Jesus, just like an automobile. Prayer is your step. Well, now when you get on the road to glory, Satan is gonna try to fly you down. You better keep on driving, 'cause if you want your story cry, well, you gotta check on your tires. You gotta rough for ahead. And when you're weary of your journey, God will put you to bed. And you got to check on your brakes and stop your wicked ways. A man is part of a woman, only of a few days. Now you got to check on your lives and see your own faults. Stop while you can see them children, or your soul will be lost. Now you got to check on your generator. You need more strength and power. You can't do nothing without the man. You need him every hour. A Christian, oh Christian, press on the starter. Start the automobile, put it in first gear, going up the hill. But ride on, children, if I never see you no more. I'll meet you when I'm pulling on the other shore. And I ain't worried about my pocket space. I just want to see my Savior face to face. You know prayer is a drive, and faith is your steering wheel.
And if you go to our website, you'll learn more about Soul California music. Our website is www.oneworldpi.org. Now then, sing for us, never give up.
Yes, we'd like to thank you for singing for having us. And for all those who find it hard to make it, these are words of wisdom. Hope you enjoy it. I know the promise you made me, always to be there. No matter what I'm feeling, you always seem to care. And whenever I feel lonely, you know just what to say. Then you wrap your arms around my heart and take my breath away. And say now, you will always stay. I'll never listen. Sometimes the road gets weary until your steps I see. No matter what I'm feeling, you're always there for me. And whenever I feel lonely and I cannot see the way, then you wrap your arms around my heart and take my breath